Hi, Don Cohen here with another of my daily LinkedIn Lives. I am so honored and happy to have Lisa here with me today. And basically, we've got so much to share. We've actually been sharing uh, in advance and actually put ourselves in a great position to be talking with you because we're, on a roll already. So with that, Lisa, why don't you introduce yourself and we'll get into the topic of the day.
Okay. So I have been a corporate girl my entire career. And last year was unfortunately introduced to a new boss who happened to be toxic. And so within 6 months, even though I'd been with the company almost 11 years, within 6 months, that relationship was not going to work. So we parted ways. And so for the first time in my life, I'm out here in entrepreneurial land, trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. But for me, it became kind of a project for me to try and help others avoid going through what I did. And so this year became like a year of study for me, learning about bullying and how to prevent bullying and why it's so predominant in our society. So I've kind of dedicated myself to that and established my own LLC just to kind of have a conglomerate to house all of this information and these connections. But it's kind of concerning how prevalent it is. But there's answers out there, and so that's kind of where I am right now in my journey. Is like first part of the year was doing the investigation and getting to know the experts in the industry, and now I'm into the content development and putting information out there for others to access.
Sounds great. And it's Lisa Edmondson. You can check her out on LinkedIn, her profile. I've been totally impressed. And, I talk to a lot of people, and Lisa really has the great balance of experience and, direction going forward. So, great team member. Want to just invite everybody to chat. I see that we've got a couple people already.
Hey,
Uh,
Trevor.
yeah, Trevor's here. Thanks so much for coming, Trevor. Appreciate it. I enjoy everything you do. Trevor's another rocket ship on LinkedIn. I would definitely support anybody supporting Trevor. And then we've got the Hawk from somewhere in Denmark or Norway. We've had many conversations, and actually, uh, he is extremely involved in all kinds of music and in working with people who to prevent suicide. So he's a very fascinating guy. Thank you so much, Hawk. That's his nickname. He calls me Rocket Man. Uh, and then Trevor comes back with "You Bet." Well, thank you very much for all of your participation. Today's topic. Oh, Rosie Allen, hello back. Um, is about starting where you are with who you are. And I think the key is there's too many people who wait and then wait too long and never, they're just like a billboard putting themselves out there, hoping one day they can come back and someone chose them for some reason. The other is be who you are, because authenticity is something you don't want to have to work against. It's enough to build trust and relationships and then be someone else and know who you were someone else with and where that left off. I mean, it's like either be that or be happy with yourself, and I know Lisa and Mia talked about work with people to help yourself get better by being around them, learning together, sharing together, supporting each other. I know since I met Lisa, I met Trevor, I met many people, and I'm having LinkedIn Lives with all of them. And it's great because, I find the key to LinkedIn success is time efficiency. And if you can repurpose content, if you can create content at a very small amount of time, if you can leverage relationships, but here's what's even cooler. If you dig down to the next level, you're getting people on your program who might not even have a Zoom with you, but would like to be on a program, right? And now you're meeting as a peer instead of reaching up. The other element of it is anything you're talking about, if it's LinkedIn centric, should be okay to talk about in front of LinkedIn people. So now instead of just having a Zoom, you can have a LinkedIn Live as if it was a Zoom, and now other people are participating. So works great. Lisa, what's your thoughts?
Well, the thing you said about authenticity kind of strikes a chord with me because, and I even posted about it one time. I said, if you have to work at being authentic, then you're doing it wrong. So that's how you know. And it really has, ironically, this platform quite literally has helped help me take off that corporate face and be more my authentic self, because I know, and I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but there's a lot of different expectations in the corporate world. That whole corporate persona is very much, touted as, you have to play the game, you have to wear the face, you have to say the right things. And so you get into that mode. And so it took me several months this year to kind of undo that learning and just be me. And it's definitely a lot easier to be me. So I appreciate the authenticity factor, and I look for that in other people too. It kind of, you can tell. And so I really appreciate that about this whole LinkedIn community, is how authentic people are showing up every day as their authentic selves. And it's like, well, what better can you ask for? I feel like it's a lot more productive, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, and Trevor feels the same way. He just mentioned being authentic begs a balance between transparency and oversharing. So true. Thank you, Trevor. And, LinkedIn also gives you a chance to reinvent yourself, right? To be the person who you always wanted to be, but you took potluck out of school, or you had a friend, or somebody, and before you know it, 20 years went by and you're in this industry, but you always wished you could have been whatever.
Right.
You're in a new land with a new culture, with new people, a new neighborhood. So you can be who you want to be, not who you can't be. And here's the other thing. There had to be a point in everybody's life where they were impressed with someone being impressed with them and something they did, right? I think the challenge with people on LinkedIn is they don't bring the best you. They bring the middle you because they are afraid they're going to give too much and get too little, so they'll give less. And when they don't get anything, they feel they saved something, as opposed to going in and being the audition, right?
Right.
Right. And what are you leaving behind? Go ahead, Lisa.
Right. Well, no, I mean, I was gonna say that, I think when we start on this platform, that's more the case. But I feel like the longer you are on LinkedIn, the more yourself people become. For example, I feel like, it's almost like you can kind of tell when someone's fairly new to the platform, because they're kind of a little bit more reserved and holding back, like you said. And but I feel like the more you get to know people, the longer you get to know people, the more real it becomes. And so I appreciate that about this platform. And someone said something about John Linhart. I saw that down there, the comments, and yeah, he and I are connected. I did an entire e-learning course based on his methodology, which is fascinating and revolutionary in my opinion. So I could talk about that all day long, but he has a great anti-bullying program methodology that he takes into schools and tries to implement it with children while they're still at an impressionable age, and it's almost like the preventive medication for bullies. He kind of tries to get to them before they become the bully and helps them understand better ways to communicate and more about themselves. So yeah, appreciate someone mentioning that in the comments, because I definitely am a firm believer of his platform. I think, is he going to be on your show here, Don, or have you already had him
I
on the
don't
show?
know, but I know one thing: the shows are starting to multiply because it's giving people like you who have a true voice that's not only true but credible and important, face to face with the audience. The challenge
Yeah.
with posting and commenting and liking, it's like the Pony Express.
Mhm.
You drop something, sometime later on, someone picks it up. Sometime
Yeah.
later on, someone responds. Sometime later on, you respond. You've had 5 conversations with minimal words, and no one knows context or perspective. And you're one of 800 million. When you get here, there's nothing between you and them and you. And the beauty of it is, your message can only be really projected if it's leveraged over a lot of people. That's where the
Mhm.
efficiency is. If your message can multiply through networks and individuals, and just like now, whoever's watching this, and
Mhm.
it typically is about 100 150 viewers that see something like this, and
Mhm.
if they reshare it or if they just remember it. And here's the other thing, Lisa, you may be doing direct benefit because some bullies out there, it may ring a bell and says, maybe I should stop doing this. And maybe LinkedIn doesn't appreciate it anyways,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm not serving myself or anybody else. And,
Mhm.
there's a saying, for things to change, you have to change.
Mhm.
But it's easier to change when someone in front of you changes first.
Right. Yeah. Well, and on this platform, I think it's mirrored back to you. I think it's a lot more visible, um, quite frankly. So I think there's more opportunity for us to reach people directly who are in that kind of position, because you can literally call them out in a kind way and say, hey, I'm not sure if you meant to offend me, but here's what I heard. So. And Jamie, yeah, Jamie Edwards. That's one of the ones that I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I
I
know
just
somebody
noticed.
else.
I talked to Jamie the other day, and Jamie is
Yeah,
going to be on the show.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Somebody
and
else
I,
is.
I do a show every day,
Wow.
and I'd rather do it with someone else. But, I like to get into a discipline,
Hmm.
right? Where you just keep working it. I posted every day for 3 years now. I haven't missed a day, and I haven't missed a LinkedIn Live in 6 months. And now I'm doing 2 and 3 a day, because
Wow.
I started to appreciate that it's just walking by a microphone and say, hey, I've got something to say for 7 minutes. That's all. And I like
Maybe
when I hit,
somebody will like
maybe not.
it.
But, if nothing else, it's always practice. You
Right.
know, it's like
That's
I
so
learned,
true.
yeah, little things. And once you do it, it becomes like easy to do.
That is such a good point, because okay, here's the funny thing for me. Like I said, being in corporate for almost 30 years. I my last role, I had been in that job for over 10 years, and I had a team of about 15 people, and we were all remote. And so I never met any of them in person, really. A couple of them that were local, I did, but for the most part, I hadn't met them. And we had never had face to face calls. So we had just audio only calls. And so right before I left, I kind of told them, I was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to do this face to face. I'm going to see you guys at least once before I leave. And so we finally did that call, and I mean, literally, we were just all like in tears, because it was like, why did we wait so long to do this? But it's that whole thing about being comfortable with the platform. And so it wasn't until this year when I got on LinkedIn that I actually became comfortable being in front of, on the camera thing. And it's like, you know what? People don't really care so much about what you look like, or, if your hair is dirty or whatever, but it's more about what you say and what you contribute. And so this, quite frankly, has opened up that side of me that I didn't know. I mean, because like I said, until this year, I would have probably lost sleep over, appearing on camera, even just for a regular video call with the team or something. But yeah, but now it's just like, oh yeah, whatever. I'll put my face on and we'll just go do it and wing it and see what happens. So, and I'm starting my own podcast tomorrow with a friend of mine. So to tell you how far I've come in that regard. So it's definitely helped me a lot. And I appreciate, literally just this platform has gotten me there. So another advantage, side effect that I hadn't expected.
Yeah, well, that speaks to the topic is be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, everybody else has been taken. And the other element to it is when you kind of love yourself, you can spend a lot of other time paying attention to others. And, when you
Yeah.
can post every day for 3 years and not expect much in return and still get enthusiastic every day,
Mm-hmm.
you're setting yourself up for success because you've got a definite tailwind instead of a headwind. And when you
Right.
bring a bunch of other believers along with you, that
Mm-hmm.
solidifies it, because unless you get that group on LinkedIn, you're going to be living around a lot of dream stealers who don't understand,
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing, and only equate time with money,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
not investing in oneself, not in taking a break,
Mm-hmm.
not repositioning, reinventing. I mean, why
Mm-hmm.
not be a work in progress? Why not be
Right.
a piece of clay before you put it out on the track? And
Mm-hmm.
why not give the best you can? I mean,
Yeah.
no one gets out of here alive. So what are people saving themselves, or what are they
Right.
afraid of? But here's
Yeah.
what I believe it really comes down to is being proactive, taking the initiative, doing what other people aren't doing it more
Mm-hmm.
often, just being there and doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right about
Yeah.
being yourself, because again, that's your authentic self, is how you feel
Mm-hmm.
about how you look, is
Yeah.
how you should project. Because with 810 million people, you want certain people to say, oh, definitely not for me.
Right. Right.
And you
Yeah.
want other people to say, this is perfect. This is who I am and
Yeah.
who I want to be. And this is someone
Mm-hmm.
who can help me.
Hmm.
Right.
And that's the key too. And that was another thing that was so surprising to me about this platform is how much people want to help you. I was astonished by the amount of people who really genuinely just want to help. And that's kind of where I am as well. I don't charge for my courses. I don't charge for consulting or anything like that. It's just like, I just want to help because that kind of makes me feel better. Of course, someday it'd be nice to make money at it, but right now I'm just at the stage where I'm just, enjoying what I'm doing and want to help others. And there are so many out there doing the exact same thing. They just want to help, and so that's like unique to this platform. I haven't seen that on any other platform, and I think it's special. I really do, and I think that's why the connections here are so much more authentic and solid and, meaningful, because there's genuinely good people out there. And this platform has kind of restored my faith in humanity as far as that goes, because up until, especially after having, that experience with a toxic leader, um, you kind of lose faith in humanity. It's like, oh my gosh, is there anybody out there who's decent? Yeah, they're here. They're all on LinkedIn. So, so this is like become my favorite platform. I've literally, not intentionally, but kind of um, stepped away from, Facebook, which used to be my primary platform. And I'm here every day for hours and hours, which isn't healthy probably, but we're making progress. We're doing good things. So that's how I justify it. But thank you, Jamie. Sweet comments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting some great comments today.
Mhm.
And, I believe that, it's, if you can keep giving and enjoying the gift you give, and when you believe what you're giving has so much more value than what you're asking in
Mhm.
return, when
Yeah.
someone refuses it, it's a regift.
Mhm.
the next person, because you only have so much time, you only have so many opportunities. Who do you want to spend that time with? And what value do you want to create? You can't get paid until you produce value, and it has to be the kind of value that doesn't have to be sold and doesn't have to be pointed out.
Right.
And
Right.
then you'll get the benefit, because here's what I believe. If this is truly a collaborative, collective opportunity, no one should be making money off of people. Everybody should be making money with and for people. And if you can come up with something that says, hey, it's an investment, not a risk, and the only investment you need to put in is some time, but how do we get that time to a minimum? I'm doing 3 times more than I was a year ago for 1/3 the time, because my
Yeah.
content is spontaneous. There's
Mm-hmm.
no homework after this is done. And there was no preparation except what's the topic. And the topic
Yeah.
is really throw the ball in. And after that, wherever it goes, that's the new topic. So,
Right. See what
you know,
happens. Uh-huh.
no stress. And that's what you want
Right.
to make your conversations when you meet somebody on the street. Are you like stressed and worried how you're going to look? No, it's just natural. They know you, you know them. And what you want to do with the audience is make them part of the group, not outside of it. Well, we got an interesting individual here, Mario Alberto. I think there is huge opportunity to really use this platform to inner help with the network. For instance, if there is a job that match someone of the network that was looking for one, share it, name him, her mate, make magic happen. So right, Mario. Thank you for sharing that. And I think what that lends itself to is that how much more can you do beyond the minimum,
Yeah.
right? I mean, how many people do you tag? You know, thank you, Mario. What I did is I tagged 120 people every day for a year and a half,
Wow.
and they only give you 180 tags, so I had to respond to the 120. But I was blowing it up. I was getting 60, 70,000 views. I was getting
Wow.
150 comments. I mean, I got 25,000 new connections in 5 months. So I
Wow.
understood how to really work it. And what I did is I organized everybody with me. And my headline was, just hit 13,000. Let's get it to 14. And everybody started to chime in, and it just blew up. But it was aggregating, engaging, directing. But then I decided, hey, this is taking my whole day up, and all I'm getting is popular. And
Right.
the long titles are growing, which means you got to support
Yeah.
them. I learned about being a minimalist lately is the
Yeah.
more you have, the more things have you. So when
Right.
I decided, hey, LinkedIn Live, I'm just going into an elevated space with more elevated people who are into sharing, being authentic, showing up, and it's smaller, but it's more relevant. The
Right.
connections I'm getting, my rule before was I wouldn't connect unless I'm willing to have a call with you right after connecting. Right? Because if you're already self-limiting, it's not fair to the other person to know there's nothing going to happen.
Right.
And when you get to LinkedIn Live, now it's like, who wants to show up? Who wants to say something? You know, it's the time where people can move forward, but it's also a bridge where people who are like in the crowd over there and will never distinguish or differentiate themselves can now get a platform. And if they're lucky, connect with someone like Lisa or Jamie or Hawk or any of these wonderful people. Trevor, I can keep going. And they'll help you. Lisa's absolutely right. I've never turned someone down who had a sincere request, you know, who wasn't selling me something right off the bat or trying to do something. But if someone says, and they typically start, I really liked or loved or something about this that you did, and here's my situation, could we blah, blah, blah. And I enjoy that because it's a two-way street. Every experience, you know, they say everything you do in life either takes you closer to your goal or further away. you know? So it's how do you make your choices? And again, the topic, who do you choose? And this is
Right.
the beauty. Don't wait for someone to choose you. That doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
Why would
Right.
you, you know, that's what people make the mistake on LinkedIn. They go there, they see notifications, uh, uh, and um, and all of a sudden, I see we have a person, but I don't know. Oh, I understand. Um, so basically, it's about relevancy. It's about you choosing first. You know, who do you believe you want to be with, and then see
Mhm.
if they're really the person you believe they are.
Mhm.
And by being the,
Well,
go ahead, sure.
yeah. Oh, hey, Adriana. Yeah, it's so funny because that just reminded me of something that happened. I think it was just last week. I had made a connection earlier this year with someone. Her name's Elaine, and she was a transitioning teacher, and she was trying to transition into instructional design. And I saw one of her posts, and I think that was kind of a big misperception with a lot of transitioning teachers is the world of instructional design. Well, I knew, that's my world. And so I spent a lot of time earlier this year with transitioning teachers and that whole community and just kind of coaching them. I had a lot of one-on-one calls with them and trying to figure out what it was they really wanted to do because I think there might have been a little bit of a misperception of what the corporate version of instructional design was like. And so for her specifically, we kind of took it offline and I kind of dug into it and I was like, well, what do you like about instructional design? What do you think it is? And so, and then when I kind of told her what the reality was, I was like, I don't think you're going to like that job in the corporate world. And here's why. And so, but just last week, she got a job as, I think, a program manager, I think it was. And she actually tagged me in her post. And quite frankly, I mean, literally, I'm bawling like a baby because she was like thankful for these conversations that we had months and months ago, where I just spent 15 minutes with her to say, hey, I don't think that's what you want to do. Have you looked into these other types of roles? And she landed one, and she's just so excited. And so to me, that was just like so fulfilling to actually see it come to fruition, right? I mean, in the corporate world, it's a lot easier because you can see that, when someone gets promoted or, something like that. But in the rest of the world, when you're just consulting with people online, you don't get to see that. And so to see that come back around was very satisfying for me. And so I'm like, that alone is worth it to to
Hmm.
invest in other people. It's just like so rewarding. Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah,
So
and what is the investment? It's not. It's
right.
just sharing their name. You know, here's an interesting story, and that's what another thing I love about LinkedIn Live, and that's why I do it so much. Is I was doing one, and Tara Gooch saw it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that same day, it was even a Sunday, I think. And I'm finding Sundays are one of my best days, and no one's doing them.
Yeah.
So she says, I really blah 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 enjoyed it, and within like a couple hours, we were talking, and within a week, we did a LinkedIn Live. Now we've done about 7 in a row. And then she shared with me, and that's how I got introduced to this wonderful network of people.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
I was so impressed because on the Saturday show, right, with Trevor, uh, I was profiled. And it just happened I showed up on her
Oh,
profile when my profile was up. I thought I did something wrong to get
all
there.
right.
And then I said, wow, I was so impressed, Tara. And she said, I was going to surprise you. And I said, one good deed deserves another. So I've got a friend in
Yeah.
Bangkok who's got a wonderful podcast, 400 episodes, and he's using me in some ways to get guests for him. So then I got Tara going, and it's just funny how it circulates. And the other thing is, people who watch this become LinkedIn Live co host and guests. And all of
Right.
a sudden, that ripples. And now
Mhm.
everybody's
Yep.
moving up into high performance race cars instead of
Yeah.
bicycles.
Yep.
And they're driving together, which
Yeah.
actually expands the projection and the value and the reach. because of association and third-party validation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and you learn how to do it by just doing it.
Yeah, and I think Trevor mentioned earlier that yeah, perfect is the enemy of good enough, and that's really everything that's refreshing about this platform is good enough is good enough. It's like it really doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I told you earlier that a friend of mine and I are starting a live cast tomorrow. Never done it before. Don't know what we're doing. We're just gonna wing it, but I feel like the people on this platform are okay with that. They're just like, okay, we'll help you out and we'll grow with you. But I mean, that's kind of part of the learning experience is figuring out as you go and not having to be perfect before you get there, because you definitely progress a lot faster that way, right? If you're waiting for everything to be perfect or perfection before you do the next big thing, it takes a lot longer that way. So here we are, just kind of muddling through, and people are forgiving. They're just like they get it. That means you're human. Oh, guess what? We're all human. So it's refreshing. I enjoy it.
Well, I think what it also brings, it's real people in real time, in real conversation. And I think that once people realize the only person you account to when you're an entrepreneur is yourself, then you approve your dress code, you approve your look.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're happy with it, that's one less challenge for you. And if people aren't happy or judge too early or judge at all, they don't they pre-qualify themselves out. If
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for
Yeah.
5 or 10 out of 800 million, it's so much easier not to be opaque and say, here's exactly who I am, here's exactly what I am, here's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I want to do and who I want to do with.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a match? And if it's not,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be, well, I've got a shoehorn here, or I can
Mm-hmm.
do that. I can play that role. I think I can,
Mm-hmm.
but why do you start a relationship with an accommodation before you even
Mm-hmm.
realize how many more accommodations?
Right. You have to make, yeah. You'll find your squad here. I mean, you really will. You'll find your squad. There's somebody out there for everyone. It's almost like a, dating app kind of thing. But I mean, these people become genuine friends. And I really have come to rely on them on a daily basis, quite frankly. Just making sure they're out there. One of them was offline for about a week or so last week, and I was just so worried about her. I was like, "Where, has anyone heard from?" And you guys who are on here know me, Elizabeth. I was worried about Elizabeth. Where's Elizabeth? And I was just like harassing everyone, saying, "Have you heard from her?" And so finally, she showed up, and she like gave me her WhatsApp number so that we could connect offline because I was so worried about her. But I mean, you just really they're genuinely real connections and you really care about these people. So you will find your squad. So that's even more reason why you want to be authentic because you don't want to end up in the wrong squad, right? Um, they'll have different motivations. So yeah, if you just stay yourself, stay true to yourself, there are other good people out there like you who you can collaborate with. And we're building a community that we just started this week, and Jamie and Trevor and Adriana are involved in this as well. And it's just, again, no idea what we're doing, but we're just throwing it out there, seeing what sticks, and hopefully we'll be able to make some traction with it. But the main goal is just to communicate with each other and connect and help each other, and see what we can make out of it. So it's been a really a really educational experience for me. I feel like I've learned more this year on LinkedIn than I have, the prior 10 years in the corporate world. So it definitely no regrets here.
Well, it seems like the corporate world's working on legacy and the LinkedIn world is working
Right.
on today and tomorrow. And
Mm-hmm.
to your point, one needs to balance looking for people with also creating more value in themselves. So when they find those people, they're
Mm-hmm.
attractive and they're retained.
Yeah.
It's like a picnic. Everybody brings something, and everybody remembers who brought the most and who took,
Potluck. Yeah.
and eventually people
Right.
get a reputation,
Yeah.
and I was listening to an Audible, which is pretty cool. It's 60 Days to LinkedIn Success, and every day they give you tips.
Hmm.
And one of the keys is the people who only take never succeed. The other one is the people who only give never receive.
Right.
So it's the
Hmm.
balance, and what they advocate is being a connector, where
Yeah.
now you bring things and people together. You don't just provide something,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah.
become a matchmaker, like you said. In essence, it is, let's say, professional branded dating.
Hmm.
But
Right.
the key is, again, the attraction is not in how you look, because it shouldn't be a physical thing. It's
Right.
what you think. And
Hmm.
that's what
Yeah.
makes LinkedIn Live so well, because it's so equal opportunity.
Hmm.
It has nothing to do with mobility. It has nothing to do with situation. It's all, what's your idea right now, and
Hmm.
how
Yeah.
valuable is it to people who tune in? And if
Right.
you keep giving $20 bills for $10 bills, you're going to get an enthusiastic, anticipatory audience.
Mhm.
And the thing is you're working off of a platform that isn't yours. See, everybody says
Right.
it's not me and LinkedIn. It's the LinkedIn Live platform, with me being a conductor, saying
Hmm.
all aboard, or helping people on, as
Right.
opposed to, and that's great because there's no responsibility. So the key is, all you're dealing now is with courage or lack of it,
Yeah.
right? If you say,
Yeah.
I'm on the other side and it's great, here's a hand, let me bring you over.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
where sincerity and authenticity get tested, because now, hey, I got what you wanted.
Yeah.
It should be great, instead of, well, there's one more thing,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure, or whatever it is. But that's great, because you got to that answer sooner than you would have. And then
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
say next, who
Yeah.
else wants to ride the train? So I think
Right.
if you do that in that spirit, if you're
Hmm.
excited, they say people only listen to your music, not your words.
Hmm.
And if you're fun, I mean, if you laugh enough, someone will start laughing around you, even if they
Right.
don't know what you're laughing about. And
Right.
it's the same
True.
thing, contagious on LinkedIn.
That's true.
So, and that's what you've proven, along with this show, how effective it is to naturalize somebody,
Yeah.
to bring the natural self out.
Hmm. Hmm.
That once you start smiling and enjoying and come up with ideas, that whole other appearance disappears.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
should show up is thought leadership.
Yeah.
Is, hey, this
Yeah.
person really knows what they're talking about. This person really cares about what they're talking about, who they want to talk with. And, people should be lucky to find people who have a level of professional maturity,
Hmm.
because really, if everybody keeps it professional, it allows it to keep being more open,
Right.
right? People start
Yep.
shutting down when people start feeling whatever they're not comfortable with. So the key is,
Hmm.
build safety, build comfort, build support. You
Hmm.
know, I
And
know
pay
there's,
it forward.
yeah, because I was in turnarounds a lot. I was in restructurings. I built some
Mm.
huge companies on my own. And I know sometimes it was just one more day before they had to turn the lights off in the store, the warehouse, or the office.
Yeah.
And it was typically not because they couldn't do it, they just got frustrated, they got angry. And to your point, the biggest bullies are usually oneself. The way
Hmm.
some people
Right.
talk to themselves, they would never talk to
Hmm.
someone else. And
Right. Yeah.
right, I was just thinking the other day,
Hmm.
when you have time alone and your thoughts come to you, do you think of the
Hmm.
best memories and your greatest victories? Or do you look
Hmm.
back and think about what could have been?
What you should
Or,
have done.
yeah, and
Hmm.
all you gotta do is change the channel.
Right. Yeah.
It's your
Yeah. My
channel.
friend, one of my friends on here, Kaylani Pardeshi, she's very, you know, focused on self-bullying and not doing that and how to get around that. In fact, she's got a book called Unbullied, and she'd probably be a good guest here on your show too. But same thing. It's like, self-bullying is so damaging. You wouldn't treat other people that way. So why are you talking to yourself that way? And I think the encouraging attitude and opinions and that you get here on this platform are kind of helpful with kind of rewiring your brain to think a little bit better about yourself. And that's why I was saying the whole pay it forward thing is just it's such an important piece of it, because it makes you feel better about yourself, and while also helping somebody else. So it's a win-win. Why wouldn't you do that? And so I think that's kind of helped, or it can help with that self-bullying. And hey, you're not that bad of a person, right? You help this other person do whatever, find their next job or whatever. So that's definitely helps with self-healing as well.
Yeah, and those are also important to keep, going in a long game that requires a lot of patience, a lot of confidence, and a lot of support. And, that's, I think, what LinkedIn Live gives people is they don't depend on anybody else. They can go directly with their own voice at any time and build the audience that wants to be with them and they want to be with. Because to eliminate bullying, just get rid of the bully, right? I mean,
Yeah.
redirect
Yeah.
your time and attention to someone who's more supportive. But people have to have a choice. They have to have an option. They have to know how to take advantage of it. And what I see, and that's what I'm focused on, is people creating their own themed LinkedIn Live. So in other words, since you're so bully centric, they have one that just says that. Right off the bat would be the number one show on LinkedIn Live, because it'd be the only one probably that was like that I know of. So anyways, there's so much to talk about.
I know. We're running out of time now.
Everybody try LinkedIn Live. I'm always open to talk to everybody who's interested in learning, growing, and being better than they were yesterday. And hopefully could see more of these LinkedIn Lives and ultimately build maybe panels on LinkedIn Live, because here's the beauty of it also. In time, whoever joins the show brings their network, right? So when me and Tara do it, she's got like 28,000. I've got like 37,000. Now we've got 65,000. Plus, when I do it by myself, it's like 8 minutes. That's all I can take to me, right? But when you join forces with someone else, then you're enjoying the show along with everybody else. And it's a lot more fun, and it complements each other. So with that, I guess we'll sign off. This was longer than we anticipated.
Right. Sorry, guys.
It was definitely worthy and justified. I want to thank everybody for making their comments and being here. And
thanks for hanging out with us.
If you find it worthwhile. Lisa, what words can you say in closing?
Oh, gosh, just that this has been fun. I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys showing up and becoming a part of the conversation. And reach out to Don, because he'll have you on his next show. So
yeah, and I'll have Lisa on another show too. So this is the beginning, and hopefully everybody can look back and say, "Wow, I remember when this," and now look at it. So it's the before picture, and now we'll just have to develop the after one. But thank you again. Have a wonderful day.
Thank y'all.
And if we can help in any way, please reach out.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care, everyone. See ya.
Bye-bye.